Okay, this is Teacher Jeannie again, and today I'm going to be talking about insects. Insects have a bad reputation, and we think of insects sometimes that bite, or they sting, or by doing damage to our trees and our plants. Insects really can be fascinating, and many are very important to our world. An interesting fact is for every human being there is 200,000 insects. Maybe the more you learn about insects, the more you might appreciate them. A true insect only has 6 legs, and that's compared to our 2 legs. Also, most insects have 4 wings, and they have 2 antennas. There are other type of creeping critters too, such as millipedes that you can sometimes find buried in the ground. They look like a long worm with very many legs. Another type of non-insect is a pillbug, and it has 20 legs, and it can curl itself up if frightened. Spiders and also tarantulas both have 8 legs and no wings. Also, scorpions have 8 legs, 2 claws, and a tail with, a stinger on it. Okay, here is a picture of a moth. Aren't you glad they're not really this big? As you can see, this moth has a huge antenna. It's quite woolly in appearance and has an interesting antenna. This moth can help by pollinating flowers. Another interesting fly is an owl fly. It just demonstrates how unique an insect can look. Another interesting fly is a firefly, and it's in the Midwest, and they have lights on them at least in the last section of its body that glows at night. Most insects also go through 4 separate stages called metamorphosis. They first start out as an egg, then they become a larva, or like a caterpillar, so they're like a worm. In the 3rd stage, they turn into like a pupa or a caterpillar. And finally, they become an adult. Insects can be very agile, as is shown in this picture of this bat chasing a lot of different moths. And the bat is chasing them for food. And their moths don't want to be food, so they are running away, flying away as fast as they can. One thing that I've noticed in my garden is the changes over the last couple years as more and more people use pesticides to kill pesky bugs and insects and worms, that the pesticides are also killing thousands of bees that are so important in pollinating our garden and flowers, and also vegetable garden flowers. I have counted this past month how many bees I have in both my flower garden and my vegetable garden. In 2 months' time, I have counted only 10 bees. It's really sad. So here's a group of bees that are working together. We really need bees to help pollinate our flowers and so that we can get fruit and beautiful flowers. And bees are not only important for pollinating our flowers and trees and vegetables, but they also make nutritious food for themselves and for us called honey. So first, a bee is born from an egg, and that only the queen can lay that egg. And there is only 1 queen bee per hive, and that queen bee can lay over 2,000 eggs in one day. Can you imagine that? Laying 2,000 eggs in one day? The worker bee, besides pollinating flowers, has many jobs. One of their many jobs includes making a special food for the queen. And this is called royal jelly. And sometimes people buy this to eat because it's super, super healthy. And this enables the queen bee to keep healthy and to fly by all those, and to also lay all those eggs. A worker bee can also, after it's developed into a bee, it can make a cell and becomes a house. And there's a cleaner bee that keeps the hive very tidy. Another job of the bees is it's a nurse bee, and so it feeds and cares for the little larva after it comes out of an egg. Then the industrious bee, can become a guard to protect the hive and attack intruders who try to steal the honey. Imagine all these jobs that God has given to this little tiny bee. It's incredible. Worker bees live very short weeks, maybe only 4 to 5 weeks. And for the last few weeks, the bees are given the privilege of gathering nectar and pollen and give it to the nurse bees, who store it in the hives as honey, which many of us also enjoy eating. There are some species of insects that are also called social insects because they live together in large groups called colonies. These insects, like the bees, also have 3 jobs. 1, they take care of the young. These species also have a queen who produces all the young. And all of the type of bees are called termites, the ones that you don't want to find in your house. And some of the members of the termite family become soldiers. The soldiers have large heads and bodies and defend the colony of termites. The largest group of termites are the workers, and they create the destruction by eating wood products like trees and also people's houses. The workers are also the ones who gather food and repair the nest and take care of themselves. Another interesting social bug is the ant. Another group your mom doesn't want in your house. In fact, I was cleaning them out of my house this morning. There are many different types of ants. One type is called the farmer, and as they raise herds of aphids. The aphids are very small insects that farmers and gardeners don't want on their plants, as the aphids suck the juice out of the plant, and that kills the plant. The ant then does something very interesting. It strokes the antenna of the aphid, making them release a liquid called honeydew. And that in turn helps to feed the ant colony, and in turn the beautiful ladybugs also help to eat the harmful larvae. One quality that I feel is ingenious for these insects is how God made them so unique and different. And as the social insects build many different types of structures for different reasons. Some of these insects build a house that is only big enough for themselves and their young, while other insects build huge cities that holds hundreds and thousands of eggs. Can you imagine that? And as an adult insect builds the larvae can also construct its own structure like a caterpillar to keep themselves safe until it develops into a butterfly. In some countries, people eat larvae. Would you like to eat a larvae? Like a worm? To survive? It might sound disgusting, but in some countries, as the larvae gets bigger and people get more and more, these larvae and insects become a very important food for these huge groups of people that have no food. Some people actually make insects into flour and eat the bread made from this flour. Another type of insect that has been very valuable to the Chinese is the silkworm. The silkworm spins their cocoons, and their cocoons in turn make very beautiful, fragile, shining material, and it's called silk. And the silk cloth is just so soft. I've had a blouse with silk on it, and I really treasured it. Some scientists also are exploring the idea of creating valuable chemicals and medicine from insects. So it's interesting how God has created these thousands of insects and how some are very valuable to us. So we should be very thankful to the creation of God. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good day.